Hey there, Smite fans, and welcome back. SPL Week 5, we are back this week, and it's going to be some great games. I mean, starting right off the bat, we have Obey Alliance up against Valence Squadron, and this is going to be a clash of the Titans between these two teams. I mean, right now, 5-1, 7-1. Both of these teams really proving their worth and playing very well these last few weeks. With a week off, I expect to see them practicing a lot, and I honestly expect these games to be phenomenal. So it's really going to be up in the air. I mean, right now, looking at it, Obey has been playing very well. They've kind of escalated. They started out very strong and gotten even better throughout the 3 weeks so far that have occurred. And the same thing can kind of be said for Valence Squadron. Both of these teams really getting under wraps their synergy, and because of that, these two teams look like they should ultimately come out as a split. I actually think that they both have the potential to take a game off of the other, and of course they're both incredibly strong teams, and so I don't think they're going to drop two games. It's really riding this fine line. This is one of those sets where a single mistake by either of these teams will cause a entire collapse just because of the skill of their opponent. Because of that, I'm going to call this one as a split. This is a do not miss match. This is going to be some great Smite. This next one should also be quite interesting, although maybe not at the same level as the last game. It will be Eager versus Allegiance, and Allegiance actually started playing a lot better towards that third week, and I can again expect with a week off that they have been cracking down and that they are going to be able to come back and play even stronger this game. That being said, the same thing can be said for Eager. And Eager is the team so far that has been, other than some of the teams we've seen in Europe, kind of standing at the top of North America. It's not had the easiest patch of all, but I expect to see them be able to take this one in a relatively fast 2-0. Allegiance, they're strong. I just don't think they have what it takes to take down Eager. So this one's a rough one, because on the one side, Soar, with a new solo laner, going to be coming in. They are going to be needing to work on this synergy again. That being said, they're all very strong players. But on the other side, Flashpoint, they were really surprising that last week of play we got to see. So we didn't see them last week, but 2 weeks ago, they were able to find their first wins, and they played very well. They are 2-6 right now, whereas Soar right now 0-6. Coming into this match, it could go as a split. It does depend on how hard Soar really has been practicing, but I can't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. I think I'm going to give this set to Flashpoint. I think right now, just because of the disarray that Soar has been in, it's ultimately going to be Flashpoint's game to take. Soar, again, if they've been practicing a lot harder, I expect to see them come through. You could put this as a split, but really, Flashpoint, they looked really good that last week. I'm expecting to see them look good this week. Starting it off with a great set, ending it with a great set. In fact, this one, this could go really either way, and some people, I honestly might even encourage you to put Team Dignitas as being able to take a 2-0, but Dignitas versus NRG, I personally am going as a split. NRG has not been playing the same since the start of Season 4, and of course, if you watch the show Retake that I am on, you would have heard us last week talking with Hindu Man about how that can kind of be natural. They probably took a little bit of a break trying to get back into their stride. They don't want to burn themselves out on the game. Coming into it right now against Dignitas, this is going to be a fun set of games for them, and I believe that they are a strong team. I actually think they're going to end up 5-5 after this. I think they're going to find a win, and they're going to lose a game as well, and I think that Dignitas is going to find a second loss on their belts after this set, just because I think NRG is going to have cracked down a little bit more, especially with a bye week, and come into this with a different set. They could 2-0, although if they are playing the way that we saw in Week 3, it's not quite as likely for that. I expect to see a split. It is entirely possible for Dignitas to 2-0, but I personally, I'm just going to go, I have to feel the split, really. And this one is another one where you could potentially go different than what I'm going to say. So this is NRG versus Lion Guard, and I personally am pushing that NRG will be able to find the 2-0 here. That being said, it could also be a split. I really do think that it comes down to it. I'm going to go with a 2-0 because, again, I think that NRG is going to be cracking down, especially because there was a bye week, and I think they should be able to come into this one a little bit stronger. And Lion Guard is the kind of team that they are really good at picking apart, and I expect to see them kind of do that. It's probably going to be some close early game matches, but I expect to see NRG come out on top. Continuing this week's set of Titans clashing, Obey versus Dignitas. This is going to be very dependent, as it was for Valence Squadron. How does Obey fare against them? I think that's going to be kind of telling as to how Obey fares against Dignitas. Personally, I'm going with the exact same kind of deal as we saw earlier. I'm calling this one as a split because, again, both of these teams are incredibly strong. They're going to clash like Titans. And really, when it comes down to it, I expect to see Dignitas take a game and Obey take a game, but neither drop 2 games. Elevate, making things a little bit easier this time when they go up against Valence Squadron. While they've had some good fights, while they've had some good plays even, I expect to see Valence Squadron be able to come out on top. I think that Elevate is definitely going to be able to start taking games off of some of the teams that are lower down. Valence Squadron, however, is a little bit too high for them. I just don't think they're going to be able to touch that. And the last one of the week, as we saw, so Sanguine probably cracking down, trying to get a lot of practice in over the break, but Cyclone GG was looking really good towards the end of that. They were finally able to find some of their first wins and push themselves to the point where they were playing actually really, really well, considering how well they had been playing in the weeks before that. And really, just based on what we've seen out of these 2 teams, I have to give this one to Cyclone. Sanguine just does not seem to quite have, again, that team synergy that they've been looking for all split. This is going to be a growth split for them. I expect to see them through the summer, through the fall, improving a ton, but this one is really where they have to find their footing, and I think Cyclone is going to be able to help them learn a lot from this because they're a little bit closer in skill, but I think that Cyclone should be able to close out both games. Now, any other week, this match probably would have been listed as an easy 2-0 for Eager for me, and Noble is one of those teams that has skyrocketed with their skill in playing. And because of that, I actually think if we see the same Noble this week that we saw in week 3, I expect to see Eager lose another game. I expect Noble to be able to take 1. I don't think they can take 2 quite yet off of Eager, of all people. So I do expect this one to come down as a split just because these 2 teams, again, another huge clash as long as Noble has been, cracking down and is still playing as well as we saw in week 3. So again, with SOAR really being in this position where they're trying to kind of still find that synergy, especially after losing their original solo laner, they're having to continue this progress through the spring split on trying to find out who exactly is going to be the best fit, how they need to work together, and getting that mesh. Allegiance having a little bit of a leg up, only having 1 new member being able to kind of help find that synergy earlier on. And after we saw again in week 3, they played a lot better. I expect to see them take a 2-0. Of course, this all depends again on how SOAR plays this week with a new solo laner. If they play it very well, then I expect to see them kind of take and push this one maybe to a split. The same thing kind of goes for their earlier match this week, but really just because of where they stand and because of the fact that they have to have new people and they kind of need to learn how to mesh with each other, even if they've been practicing a lot. I still kind of expect Allegiance to be able to come out and close the games on top, but SOAR should have a good showing right here. And this week I think we're going to see probably the best play we've seen from SOAR thus far. For Flashpoint versus EUnited. EUnited, again, at this point, they're not back to their old selves quite yet, but they are definitely starting to get close again. They're playing very well, and well, I think Flashpoint has definitely improved, and while we saw them play really well, in fact, earlier this week, I'm giving them a 2-0, I expect to see EUnited be able to kind of crush them down again. They're very good at picking apart teams like Flashpoint, and I expect to see EUnited come out on top. Starting with the Clash of the Titans, having continuing clashes throughout the weekend, ending with a great clash between Luminosity and Memory of Gabe. Now, looking at the numbers split, if you see 7-1, 5-3, most people, you immediately go, okay, 7-1, they should win, right? No problem. In Memory of Gabe is one of those teams that has been playing exceptionally well lately, and I expect to see them do a lot of good work against this. In fact, I expect them to close out a single game against Luminosity, and I expect Luminosity to return that with a single game. I expect this one to be a split just as well, just because, again, these 2 teams are really clashing. And for every split that I have this week, really, whichever team is able to come out on top, if a team comes out without a split, if one team 2-0s the other, then we kind of know exactly the solid placing of them. But really, these teams are so close right now, I expect to see a full-on split for them. And once again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. It's going to be a really interesting week. We have a ton of great games to watch. And of course, if you are tuning in a little bit early, you can tune in and watch the Challenger Circuit, 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. And we actually have a new team joining us, as well as a kind of refactored old team rejoining the Challenger Circuit. And it's going to be really interesting to see these teams clash. But of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you in the next prediction video.